There are a ton of massive changes in Season 4 that dramatically change up the meta. That's why if you want to have the best Season 4, you need to know exactly what characters are on the up and up, characters that you should highly consider picking up and maining going into Season 4 to give you the best shot at instant success. Now, if you want to hit eternity in Season 4, then look no further than the Marvel Rivals Academy. We run consistent coach scrims where you can play against players of similar skill and get coached after every single round. We house many of the best Marvel Rivals coaches in the world that give consistent classes that will help you improve targeting different fundamentals and things that you can work on to improve in your game. We also run in-house tournaments with prizes and giveaways, and you can find your best duo, trio partner in the academy, other like-minded individuals, and a community of people that all take the game seriously and want to improve. So what are you waiting for? The first month is completely free. Check it out right now in the links down below. Now, the first character is such a massive winner, it's crazy. Some small changes made this character go from, just okay, reasonable, to extremely broken, and it's Bucky. Now, part of me wanted to gatekeep him off this list a little bit longer because I do main Bucky. He's one of the characters I play the most, and I think he's gonna become so strong this season that he could very likely get banned all the time because he's gonna be very, very frustrating to play against and super powerful. And all it took was this one buff. Now, when he hits his uppercut, on that second hit, he will make it so you can't use movement abilities for 1 whole second. Now, this doesn't seem like a big deal, but I promise you it is a massive deal. It means that any squishy that gets uppercut by Bucky gets hit with his Trooper's Fist, which is honestly pretty easy. It's a pretty forgiving hitbox, and you can also use your hook and chain it into your Trooper's Fist. Now they will not be able to run away or use their movement abilities, and you're gonna guarantee get at least one shot, typically a headshot, because they're gonna be like lined up perfectly for you. And this means that you just instantly kill whatever you hit with it pretty much across the board for the squishy. So this is Black Panther, this is Magic, this is Psylocke. Basically, if a character enters your range, they have to be afraid of you just killing them with them having no counterplay. And this is not how it always was before. Like, you could dash into a Psylocke, for instance, and then she just instantly dashes through you, and then she goes invisible and you don't finish off the kill. So there are a lot of situations where Bucky wouldn't guarantee get that kill, and like situations with Panther where he'll just like dash through you and maybe win the matchup if he got marks on you first and engaged first. All that changes with this change. Like, now Bucky is an absolute hard dive counter. Like, before he was a soft dive counter, he was fairly good, but I think really good Psylocks and really good dive, sometimes you couldn't perfectly interact unless you also hit your hook and you had like multiple forms of CC plus hitting like reasonably difficult mid-range shots. But now it just doesn't matter. Bucky just gets to completely annihilate all dive mobility characters in the close range engagement duels. It's like across the board. Bucky is insane. And if that was it, Bucky would be way stronger. But the thing that really puts this over the top is that he's extremely good against tanks as well. Characters like Hulk, characters like Cap, characters like Venom, they do not want to play against a Bucky at all. And it's to the point where these characters could just literally instant die if they make a small mistake against this character. And the thing is, Bucky wasn't bad before. Like, maybe he wasn't the best DPS in the game, but he was definitely A tier, a solid pick all around. And in the matchups that he was already good in, the spots he's good in, now he's definitely S. There are still going to be weak matchups. Long distance poke is still going to be pretty hard to play against because this doesn't help in those matchups at all. But in the matchups that he was already good in, he's even more dominant, more oppressive, and there's very little counterplay. So yeah, start learning Bucky while you can. And I also have a Bucky guide that you could check out. Everything's still relevant. It is extremely good to watch that guide. I really recommend it. But let's move on to the first support on the list. And I think this is the new best support in the game after all of the nerfs that we just kind of saw in the patch, specifically Luna and Loki. Cloak and Dagger is the new best support on the block. Now, there's several reasons for this. The first one is Cloak and Dagger just now has the best ultimate. Now, yes, you can die in your ultimate, so there are going to be times where you need to be really tricky about how you're going to use your ultimate, making sure that you're cloaked before you ult, making sure you're ready to fade, getting a bubble from your team, whatever the case may be. But Cloak and Dagger, as far as the length of the ultimate, is going to be far and away the best ultimate that you could use. And in addition to that, it already was pretty strong before because it charged so much faster than like a Luna ult or a Loki ult. So now it not only charges faster, but it's like in raw power, it really kind of takes the cake right now over every other defensive support ultimate. And this just means that Cloak and Dagger is going to be so much better now. Like, the only reason that Cloak and Dagger was held back before was because of the absolute power of like these Luna Loki backlines. And now you are going to be running Cloak and Dagger most of the time instead of one of those two characters at least. And I do think that Cloak and Dagger far and away just becomes the support to pick, the best support, the support you feel to, the support that you learn how to play the best. And these are the ways that you can kind of differentiate yourself from a okay Cloak and Dagger to a great one. It really comes down to when you're using the cloak blinds. I think this is super, super important because there's a lot of situations where you're going to be able to combo kill through other defensive ultimates, burst through Cloak and Dagger, burst through Invisible Woman ult if you make sure to apply that blind with a lot of team pressure or with a combo ultimate. You know, now Thor, you can combo with him, you can combo with Bucky. There's a lot of situations where you're going to be able to kill through defensive ultimates if you combo appropriately, and I think that timing is going to be really, really important. On top of that, one of the most powerful combos in the game still is going to be Magneto Phoenix. That combo just kills through anything, right? But Cloak Fade is one of the best ways to deny it. It's actually one of the only ways to deny that combo. So timing with that ability and kind of pre-fight awareness, or like predicting how the fight's going to play out, it's going to be really, really important on this character. And that's where you can really separate yourself. And then the last thing is probably just like communication. I don't really know what it is, but I don't really see a lot of Cloak and Dagger mains calm that much. And double support ultimates still happen like at every rank. If you can just not do that, you're gonna win a lot of games. So yeah, just communicate, figure out who's going first, and make sure you don't double. Now, the next big winner, the first tank that we got to talk about, is actually Doctor Strange. I think this is going to be a massive season for Doctor Strange, and we finally reached the point where Doctor Strange is legitimately insane. Like, if you remember, Doctor Strange used to be one of the best characters in the entire game, and then they nerfed him and nerfed him and nerfed him and nerfed him. Kind of like what's happening to Emma now. They did that a lot to Doctor Strange. But then they realized it was kind of heavy-handed. They started buffing him. But one of the problems was Emma was introduced, and Emma was a very hard counter to Doctor Strange. So not only was there a tank that was really good against Doctor Strange was nerfed so much that it was just really hard for him to kind of find a foothold. Like, he was okay, but he was never top tier, and there was other alternatives like Magneto that were just seeing more play. But now with this really massive buff where his Maelstrom of Madness is now on a 6-second cooldown instead of an 8, which means overall way more just damage over the course of a game. You're never going to anti yourself. It's almost impossible to anti yourself. More playmaking potential, and you're going to build up your ultimate way faster, which, by the way, you build up really fast on Strange, like already, and now it's going to be even faster. But also, Emma got a pretty sizable nerf here, which is one of the hardest counters to Doctor Strange. You combine those two things together, and Doctor Strange is looking really, really good this season. He also does get a new powerful team up with Magic, and I think overall, Doctor Strange is going to be in a really nice spot going into this next season. And once again, this is a character that every single player needs to learn how to play. Whether you're a DPS player, a support player, I can't tell you how many games I won this season just because I was the one that swapped to Doctor Strange. Doesn't matter if I was a support. I swapped to Strange, I say, hey, someone swap stuff, I'm porting. If you die first, you port first, because that is oftentimes the only chance that you have to actually retouch. And doesn't matter if you're a Deeps, doesn't matter if you have your ultimate, it literally doesn't matter. If you are first dead, and you're the only one that can touch, if you swap to Strange, then you swap to Strange, and then ideally, you're not a liability once you get there, right? You swap to Strange, you port with 50%, and then you build your ultimate, and then maybe carry the fight in this really, really important fight. It's so strong and so important that every single one of you listening needs to learn this. Like, I don't care what you main, learn Doctor Strange to a reasonable level, learn how to port properly, and then you're gonna win way more games just because of that, I'm telling you. Now, speaking of the devil, next character is Magic, and Magic is looking really, really nice this season, specifically not because of all the damage changes, a lot of damage nerfs, and then complementary buffs because she lost her anchor. Mainly, the change that I'm most interested in is the right-click pierce, or the alternate fire pierce, that lowers cooldowns. So those two things together allows Magic crazy playmaking, because being able to lower the cooldowns of your portal just means way more playmaking and uptime. Like, a magic that just doesn't run out of portals is a magic that is gonna kill your entire team. Magic's almost only limited by the amount of portals that she has. That's like the extent that she can overextend herself. But when you have a way to, like, you know, chain it off of 2 people, build another portal and a half back really quickly, you're gonna be able to just do some crazy carry stuff. And on top of that, the new Doctor Strange synergy, which I think is you're gonna be able to have a lot, because one of the things that people don't talk about is that tank support or tank DPS or support DPS team ups are easier to run than DPS. Like, DPS synergies with each other is really hard because it's going to be hard for you to set that up in a duo, right? And like, randomly, you're not just going to get that incremental synergy. It's one of the reasons why like Luna synergies have been so powerful historically, is because you just want to play Luna anyways, and then you just get the team up just, you know, for free. You're not like trying to build it and then you like can't set it up all the time. And it's going to be similar if Doctor Strange is played a lot, and I think he's going to be played a lot. Magic's just gonna get that team up randomly. Like, if you just play Magic most of your games, you will pretty often get the Doctor Strange team up that is a really, really powerful team up that can be comboed with the rest of your abilities. It can set up your piercing really well to lower your cooldowns. So combine all that together, and I think Magic's in a really great spot. And I've also just generally been high on Magic, a character that many people have climbed to top 500 this season on both console and PC. Just a really high skill ceiling character that obviously has the legs to carry if you're good enough. And I do think that a lot of people just generally sleep on this character because she's a little bit difficult, hard to learn, hard to play. But I really do think that she is one of the hardest carry characters in the entire game, and these changes only make it so that she can carry harder. And the next character we got to talk about is actually Invisible Woman, who I think really gets a lot of nice changes here. For one, her ultimate is just going to be better all around, slows enemies that are pushing into it. It's going to make it way harder to kill an Invisible Woman through it. In addition to that, it's going to heal your team more. So it's going to be harder for enemies to like attrition burn you through your ultimate, which I think is going to be generally good. And most importantly here, Invisible Woman is going to be better because her competition is worse, right? Luna is going to be a bit worse. I think her ultimate's still going to be better overall, but just worse. And then Invisible Woman ult better, so the distance between them is less. And then Loki's going to be quite a bit worse. So when your competitors get worse overall, then all of a sudden you become a much more viable alternative. And like, Human Torch is still not nerfed, and Invisible Woman and Human Torch still play phenomenally together. So really, all of this combined, plus of course that slowing buff that she got where enemies pushing through her shield get slowed a bit more, just all of this kind of combined with the nerfs to other supports put Invisible Woman in just a much better spot overall, where she's much more viable than she was before, because in season 3 and 3.5 she just really had a low win rate across the board. I just think underpowered compared to her competitors, and that's really no longer the case anymore. I don't necessarily think that she is gonna be this dominant best support in the game, but I do think that she's a viable character to play now, as opposed to before, where I think she was legitimately pretty weak in season 3. So I do recommend her if you've been interested in her. I also recommend playing her more this season. I could also see Invisible Woman, Cloak and Dagger, backlines being really good in some cases. But overall, this is probably the best Invisible Woman has been in a long, long time. So if you're looking for another support to pick up to add to your hero pool, this could be the one for you. Now, next in the tank category, we have to talk about Thor, because I freaking am so excited this season about Thor. Thor is gonna be incredible, and I know it seems weird for me to be so hyped up on Thor when the main thing he got was an ult buff. But that's one of the things I always talked about. People have come to me and they know I play Thor a lot, and I've always loved Thor. Why I place Thor low on my tier list, or at least lower than the other characters. And the biggest reason behind my placement of Thor always is because his ultimate has been a liability. And this is a really big deal when you look in the tanking roster and you look at all the amazing freaking ults, from Cap ult to Groot ult to Doctor Strange ult to Magneto ult, so many powerful ultimates. And then you look at Thor and Penny and you're like, what are these? These are terrible. And that's kind of been the case with Thor. But now, because Thor is not only faster, but it has a CC stun upon landing, it 100% will force out defensive ultimates or kill pretty much every single time if you set it up. Like, supports have to respect it because they cannot react to it in post. That's one of the things that was frustrating, is that, like, let's say a support had a defensive ultimate, right? Like a Luna had one. The Thor could slam down, and she knows she's not going to die instantly because she's far enough away, and she might not have to use it at all because she could get healed up right away. They could freeze the Thor after he slams. And there's so many situations where even if you went in on Thor properly, even if you bubbled so that they would get slowed and take damage and then ulted, it still wouldn't kill. It still wouldn't even force out a defensive ultimate. And that's just pretty much unacceptable for an ult in general. And now it's guaranteed to, because the threat of the stun is too much, where they know that if they don't respond right then, they're not going to get the opportunity to. And because you're faster when you're ulting mid-air, it's going to be harder for them to get away. So you combine those two things together, and it's just an ultimate that's always going to ban a defensive ultimate. And in a lot of cases, it's going to be able to carry way harder than before, because in cases where it actually works and you land on someone and you kill them, the people around you are also going to get stunned, and you can follow that up with, you know, your awakening afterwards and kill someone else. So you can almost always get one if they don't have a defensive ultimate if you set it up properly, but often you'll be able to get two. And I think that this change, making it so he stuns on ult landing, is such a massive change to his ultimate. It just makes it so much better. And then the other part of this is the Angela team up that I just think is an insanely powerful team up. Yes, it's on a 30-second cooldown, but it allows Thor to basically fly in from really far away, get a ton of awakening back, start the initial damage and the chain of his awakening combo. It creates a ton of combos where even if you're just like right next to someone, you could just like combo awakening into this, into bubble, into awakening. Like, you could just do some crazy stuff on top of people and just burst them down out of nowhere. I think that this team up is so freaking strong, it's crazy. The big question mark here is Angela, and we don't really know just how good Angela is going to be. A lot of people are initially saying that she's very weak, but it's hard to know for sure because they said the same thing about Torch. Yes, he did get some buffs, but it's just like, in general, hard to evaluate characters that don't fit the mold. If a character is very similar to other characters like Phoenix, it's easier to evaluate her over a character that is just like way different from everything else. And I see the best chance for Angela being good is with Thor by her side, and then they're just like diving, they're like engaging together, and Thor just gets to do this all-in engagement with the team up, and y'all could just blitz backlines. I think that could be really strong. A lot of CC, a lot of damage. We will see how good that team up is, but even outside the team up, Thor is just so much better this season. I'm really high on him here, and I've been thinking about making an updated Thor guide on this channel. Let me know if that's something you want to see down below. Now for number 7, we have Phoenix, and Phoenix is a character that didn't get any buffs. So you're like, why is she in the winners list? And the thing that's interesting about Phoenix is that she didn't get nerfed. Like, this character was undoubtedly a top 3 DPS in the game, and some would argue even the strongest in like the context that she was played in. Has a really powerful Magneto combo. She's just very like hard to remove from angles. 275 life gain. The melee tech, there's just so much about her that's just so freaking strong, and she didn't get nerfed, even though Psylocke did. Basically, in a sea of a whole bunch of other characters getting nerfed, Phoenix just got left alone, and I really think that she's so freaking busted. Really, that melee tech is really crazy, which, if you don't know about it, it's melee canceling it with a flight into a shot, so you could just kind of brawl with Phoenix, especially in defensive ultimates. You could easily damage boost kill through like invisible, and I still do imagine that Luna swapping the damage boost with Phoenix is still gonna be a really powerful thing. Magneto is still gonna be a really powerful thing. He didn't see any changes, so Phoenix is still gonna be insane, and she's most likely gonna be the best DPS that doesn't get consistently banned next season when Torch gets banned quite a bit. Still, Phoenix is gonna be kind of left out unless she starts getting more banned in general. But really, this character just has every tool that you could need to carry. If you have the aim to play this character, you just will dominate. And I don't even think she is as aim intensive as a lot of other characters like Hela or even Hawkeye. I think she gets rewarded for hitting body shots a lot because of the way that her fire stacks up. Just a really well-rounded character. Great movement, great HP, great life gain, great utility. Just so freaking strong. I mean, what more is there to say? Just play Phoenix. Like, if you're playing any sort of hit scan aim-based character, you should definitely add Phoenix to your roster. If you're a tank or a support player that you have reasonable mechanical skill and you want to add one DPS to your hero pool, just so that you can play it when you have to play it on those certain situations, or just so that you can fill when your DPS are just like not doing the job or whatever, add Phoenix. Like, Phoenix is just the most well-rounded character in the game by far. Doesn't really have any bad matchups. Like, really doesn't really have any bad matchups. Yeah, just an insane character. Then number 8, this one might surprise you. It's Jeff the Shark, and the main change you got, or the only change you got, is now he adds a healing pool that heals his team when, you know, he pops his ultimate. You pop your ultimate, it's gonna heal your team, and then you can go use your ultimate and take people off the map. And the reason that this changes everything about Jeff is it really kind of allows Jeff to do both. Like, one of the things that's really weird about Jeff is in these low resource fights, right? Let's say you're in a situation where you're the last support alive and you have 2 other people alive and they have 3 people alive. If you pop your ult and grab someone or grab 2 people and you need to jump off the map in order to confirm the kill, then it's really, really bad, because now your team has no support alive. Like, you're taking yourself off the map. So it's just like, it's like this weird situation where you're like, I could kill 2 people here for my life, but there's no guarantee that my team will win, because maybe they're both one shot, they don't have a support. Jeff gets to do both. Like, you just take 2 people off with you and you leave your team with 8 seconds of constantly getting healed. They're gonna be able to win that fight easily, even if you're gone. And that just really changes everything. Like, absolutely everything. I also think Jeff has been a bit underrated, like, for a while now. He's really good with the Venom team up. I think Venom's gonna be pretty reasonable this next season. And he actually provides quite a bit of healing. Like, he does the job of a second support in a lot of situations fine. Like, maybe not perfectly, but fine. And now his ability to have an ult that's like not quite defensive, but still helps your team at the same time as making plays. Just being able to do both, I think, is a really, really big deal, a really, really powerful deal. And maybe I won't hate having a Jeff the Shark on my team. Okay, no, I think that Jeff the Shark is actually going to be really good this season. The number 9 is another character that didn't really get changed, but characters around him did. It's Groot. And Groot has been just actually really, really good in 3.5, specifically around Mantis. Now, you don't really need a Loki. Like, the Loki totems, people were like, wow, that's amazing. But the real strength is the heal wall. That really just supercharges Groot. Triple support with a Groot can be completely unstoppable. And with nerfs to several core characters, I think a Wolf ban is easier to slide in this season than ever before. You're gonna be able to ban Wolf a lot more, or every single time. Mantis is stronger because she got a buff, and I think Groot Mantis together, really, really great, amazing. And Groot just gets to kind of bully almost every tank matchup. Really great against Magneto. Actually good against Emma if you play the matchup properly. And it's going to be harder for Emma to get that advantage against Groot because her diamond form is on such a massive cooldown. Like, if Groot tries to bait her diamond and then, like, you know, is either in a spot where he can't instantly die because he does have 800 HP, or he can, like, wall himself off, back up, you know, kite the ability. Now Emma is what, you know, 18 seconds with no diamond form, where Groot could just bully her. Groot is just gonna be so good there. I think Groot and Strange is a great combo. I think Groot and Thor is an amazing combo. Really, this is a character that a lot of tank mains kind of shy away from because he's a little bit complex, but I'm telling you, you should add Groot to your hero pool. If you're a tank main that is just looking for something that provides that over-the-top power, the absolute decider in any brawl matchup, they're playing triple support, Groot completely goes over the top triple support because he builds up ultimate so quickly, he outputs so much damage, he can cut off healing where it just doesn't matter how much support they have. Groot is just such a strong character in certain situations that make him pretty much a necessity for tank mains to learn. I would really, really recommend him, especially in Season 4. He's gonna be great. I cannot recommend him enough. Now, number 10, I can't even believe this character's on the list, but it's Human Torch. Like, how did he not get nerfed? I do not know. Everyone knows that Human Torch is kind of impossible to interact with. If he has Snowflake, Drone, Invisible Woman Pocket, or any combination of those things with a front line that is just like kind of resilient, like an Emma or a Magneto, Human Torch just gets to movement tech his way to never die and just eradicate the entire battlefield. He's so freaking strong, and he didn't get nerfed at all, which really means that he's even better in a world where other things got nerfed, and he's just kind of gonna be better and better and better. I really think that he is probably a top 2 DPS now. I mean, he's undoubtedly a top 2 DPS, him and Phoenix. And in the games that he's not banned, if you are the best Torch and you have like reasonable support, you could absolutely carry those games. But if you don't have a good answer to Torch, which is like, if you can't mirror this character well, then yeah, I probably think that you should just ban him every single chance you get. He's a weird one to include in this list because I do think he's going to be banned all the time. But I mean, he's an undoubtable winner. Like the fact that he dodged a ban here is incredible. And it means that if you get to play Torch, you can carry the lobby. So anyways, this is my 10 big winners in season 4. Let me know if there's any character you think I missed down below. And definitely check out the Marvelrivals Academy. If an unk like me can get eternity, anyone can with the help of the Academy. 30 days free. Check it out down below. And I can't wait to see you there.